we have now run our Flutter code, and this is what we have. So we have this main function and this my app widget inside run app function, and we have a stateless widget. So coming down here to there's a stateful widget. So without much ado, I'll explain these two widgets, which is stateless and stateful. In Flutter, everything is a widget. The whole app itself is a widget. So we have a bunch of widgets which we are going to deal with, and it's not easy, it's not difficult to set up all these widgets. So first, what we have to do is let's get rid of everything, which I'll explain as we go along. So first, we need to import a package, which is the material, which is the Flutter material package. So Flutter. So we need to import the Flutter material.dat. So this package will help us to set this beautiful theme. Without it, we will not be able to set these things. So first, what we have to do is we have to make a main function, and this main function is what our code will base on to run. So this main function will have this run app function. So inside this run app function, what we will do is we will name the widget which we want to run in this function. So in my case, I will call it my app. You can name it whatever that you want. So in this my app widget, we now have to create a stateful or a stateless widget to hold this my app widget that we have created. So to do that, we need a class, and in this class you name this class my app like this one, and this my app class will extend either a stateless or a stateful widget depending on what we are using, but for the sake of these tutorials we will use a stateless widget. So with this being said, we now have to set our build context. We now have to override our build context. So we now have our build context neatly override. Here is supposed to be whatever that we will write, or all our widgets that we need will be set in this build context widget here. So what we first have to do is we need to return one of the widget. We will return a material app widget. Return a material app widget. We return a material app widget. This widget has a lot of properties, and we'll first use the scaffold. So we'll set the home of this app to be the scaffold widget. So we now have our app. We now have my app running and we have returned our material app widget. So within this, what we can do is we can set a lot of parameters here. Sorry, we have a lot of properties. We can set the body of the app. Let's take the body property, which is going to take a container widget. So we have this body property which is taking this container widget, and in this container widget we have the ability to set a text and also buttons, columns, and so many more. So let's change this here, this 0 here, to be like, let's say, hello world, and I'll call this child, I'll give this child a text widget. So whatever that I write in this widget will transfer here as expected. So I'll write hello and let's save. So let's hit that. Let's restart our app. So you save and restart, and if you look at things carefully, you see the hello world being appear at the top here. So to center this, what we have to do is let's wrap this text widget, this text widget with a center widget, and let's save the app one more time. So we now have our hello world in the center. So to style this text, what you have to do is you have to call the style property in our text widget. So you need to bring comma after every single line of code so that you can continue with the other one. So I'll call my style property. In this style property, I'll call the text style widget. The text style widget. So I'll call this text style widget, and here I can give it a font size to be, let's say, 20, and let's save and see what happens. So we now have our hello world boldly in the center here. We can even give it a font weight so that everything will be seen boldly by calling the font weight property also. So this one too, we will save for it to hot reload. Seems the size is too small, so let's make it 30 so that it will appear as big as we want it. So we now have our boldly hello world and our font weight set on it. So with this text, we can also set a color style. A color is also part of the style properties. So what you do is we can also call the style property. So let me code format this. So what I can also do here is I can also call the color property, which will be colors light blue, and let's save for a hot reload. So we're now seeing our hello world change into a different color.